I'm going to play the same hook section for you twice, changing one thing, and then see which one sounds better to you. So the single difference between those two parts was that the first example had chords playing underneath the hook, and the second example didn't, which is what I want to focus on in this video. Something that I notice in so many songs people send me to review is that they'll have these rhythm guitar sections running throughout a track and will rarely leave a gap or break for anything else. And the problem with this is the way guitar chords, particularly high gain guitars, tend to smother the entire composition in this dense, hazy sound. Obviously this can sound great, which is why I assume most people do this by default, but leaving gaps in a rhythm section can sound awesome too, and in a lot of cases will actually make your riffs shine through way more. A great example of this idea can be heard in Slutface's song Try. It has this really bouncy riff that ties the whole song together, acting as both the hook and playing underneath the chorus, and both times they omit any chord or guitars to help this riff stand on its own. And the bass is really helping to drive this section home by playing a tight staccato pattern underneath the lead guitar. This brings me on to my next point, which is about the importance of the guitar and bass relationship. When you remove any guitar from the equation, it really reveals what the bass can do, and it's less restricted by the chords being played and more audible as a result. I also find tonally the sound of a bass and lead guitar by themselves really opens up the sound of a composition, as things don't end up smothered in distortion the way they normally would from double-tracked rhythm guitars. Just check out how Alkaline Trio use this idea on their new song Shake With Me, and how wide and open the chorus sounds when transitioning out of the verse. Because of the lack of guitar chords in that chorus, it gives the section an entirely new vibe, and almost subverts the traditional idea of having your chorus as the most densely arranged section, which is a neat songwriting trick all in itself. But say you get to a point where things sound too empty with only a bass and a lead guitar, but too busy with 8th note power chords being played underneath. Well, a trick I picked up from my favourite band in that case is to still keep those chords in to add that fullness to your track, but only strum these once on each chord change. So you're using the guitars more like a pad, or the way organs are often used in rock music, as a layer for added density, but because there's no rhythmic pattern to these chords, it's not getting in the way of your hook. It very much becomes a background layer, leaving the bass, lead guitar and drums to form the main driving rhythm of your track. I did this recently when writing an emo pop song, using an acoustic guitar, bass and lead guitar for the rhythmic patterns, and then layering some sustained power chords over top of this. Taking all of those ideas into account, using my riff from earlier, I've kept the first section pretty skeletal, using only bass and lead guitar. Because I'm playing this low pull-off style riff, I thought adding in a bunch of chords underneath would only muddy things up here anyway. And to add in some extra flavour later on, I've opted for some simple octaves which stay out of the way of the lower lead guitar register, while giving your ear some extra harmonic detail to listen to on the second playthrough. If you're struggling to write your own riffs, then check out this video where I break down my simple writing process.